Have you ever felt trapped in an endless cycle of worries, as if your mind couldn't find a moment of calm? Or maybe you struggle to disconnect from the constant noise of social media, responsibilities, and other people's expectations? If so, you're not alone. In a world that seems to be moving faster and faster, mental peace can feel like an unattainable luxury. But here's the good news. Your mental peace doesn't depend on the chaos around you. It depends on how you face these challenges. In this video, we are going to discover together the 10 most common enemies of mental peace, from the negative thoughts that hold you back to the perfectionism that keeps you paralyzed. But most importantly, we will learn practical and effective strategies to overcome them. Imagine regaining control of your mind, developing the ability to handle stress with serenity, and becoming a more resilient and calm person. At the end of this video, you will have the necessary tools to build a refuge of calm, no matter what happens around you. Stay with me, because what comes next can transform the way you live. If you find value in this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Click on the subscription button and activate notifications so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Your path to peace of mind starts here. Enemy 1. Recurring negative thoughts. One of the biggest enemies of mental peace is negative thoughts that repeat like a broken record. These ideas, often automatic, can take the form of worries about the future, regrets about the past, or constant self-criticism. You might find yourself thinking, "What if everything goes wrong?" or "I'm not good enough for this." These phrases not only undermine your confidence, but also feed stress and anxiety. But how can you stop this cycle? First, identify those thoughts. Often, they go unnoticed because they are so ingrained that you accept them as truth. Once you recognize them, try the thought-stopping technique. When a negative idea appears, mentally say stop and replace it with a positive affirmation or concrete action. For example, change, I'll never be enough till I am growing and learning every day. Another powerful tool is journaling. Writing your thoughts helps you see them from another perspective and dismantle their foundations. Ask yourself, is this really true? What evidence do I have to support this idea? Overcoming these thoughts is not easy, but with constant practice, you can change the internal dialogue and create a healthier mental space. Enemy 2. Constant comparisons. In the age of social media, comparing our lives to those of others has become an almost automatic habit. You see posts of people traveling, achieving success, or showcasing perfect moments, and you might think, why isn't my life like that? This enemy feeds dissatisfaction and drains your mental peace by focusing on what you think you lack, instead of valuing what you already have. The problem with comparisons is that they are always based on partial perceptions. Social media, in particular, shows a carefully curated version of other people's lives, not the complete reality. Comparing yourself to that is like competing in a game with rules you don't know. How can you defeat this enemy? Practice gratitude. Spend a few minutes each day writing down 3 things you feel grateful for. This trains your mind to focus on the positives in your life. Another strategy is to reflect on your own achievements. Ask yourself, in what areas have I grown recently? Instead of comparing yourself to others, compare yourself to your past self. Measure your personal progress not someone else's. This way, you will regain peace and avoid falling into the endless cycle of comparisons. Enemy 3, perfectionism. Perfectionism, although sometimes disguised as a virtue, is one of the most silent and devastating enemies of mental peace. It pushes you to believe that nothing you do is enough, that you can always do better, or that any mistake is unacceptable. The result? Anxiety, procrastination, and a constant sense of dissatisfaction. You might tell yourself, I can't start this project until I have everything perfectly planned, or if it's not perfect, it will be a failure. This level of demand can paralyze you, preventing you from moving forward or enjoying the process. To overcome perfectionism, it's crucial to change how you define success. Instead of seeking perfection, focus on progress. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this process, even if it's not perfect? It's also useful to set clear boundaries for your efforts. For example, decide how much time you will spend on a task before you start and stick to it. Even if you don't feel the result is perfect, remember that good enough is more than enough. Accepting imperfection allows you to move forward, enjoy the moment, and free yourself from the burden that perfectionism places on your shoulders. Enemy 4, lack of boundaries. Saying yes to everything may seem like a way to be kind or helpful, but the lack of boundaries is a direct enemy of mental peace. When you constantly prioritize others' needs above your own, you end up exhausted, resentful, and disconnected from what truly matters for your well-being. It might sound familiar. I didn't want to do this, but I didn't know how to say no. The root of the problem often lies in the fear of rejection or the belief that setting boundaries is selfish. However, the opposite is true. Healthy boundaries not only protect your mental peace, but also strengthen your relationships by establishing clear and balanced expectations. To overcome this enemy, practice assertive communication. Learn to say no respectfully but firmly. For example, thank you for thinking of me, but I can't commit to this right now. It's also helpful to prioritize your own needs and time. Set aside a daily space for yourself, even if it's just 10 minutes to relax or reflect. Setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness. It is a declaration of self-respect. And when you respect yourself, your mental peace flourishes. Enemy 5, external and internal noise. We live in a world full of noise. Constant notifications, urgent emails, saturated social media, and endless external distractions. Added to this is the internal noise, that voice that keeps reminding you of worries, pending tasks, or insecurities. This enemy directly affects your ability to concentrate, make clear decisions, and above all, find moments of calm. External and internal noise drains your mental energy, leaving you trapped in a constant state of alertness. You might feel that even though you are busy all day, you can't progress in what really matters. How to defeat this enemy? Start by creating moments of disconnection. Dedicate blocks of time each day to stay away from devices and notifications. You can use techniques like time blocking, where you assign specific times for important tasks without interruptions. For internal noise, try mindfulness or meditation. Spend a few minutes focusing on your breath or a calm sound. These practices help calm racing thoughts and center your mind. Remember, silence is not the absence of sound. It is a space where you can reconnect with yourself. And when you find that space, you regain clarity and mental peace. Enemy 6. Excessive social media use. Social media, while it can be a tool for connection, is also a constant source of stress and anxiety. Scrolling through perfect posts can make you feel like you're never doing enough, while incessant notifications steal your attention and fragment your time. Without realizing it, you can spend hours consuming content that doesn't contribute to your well-being, leaving your mind saturated and exhausted. The problem with excessive social media use is not just the time you spend on it, but the emotional impact it generates. You might find yourself checking your phone without a clear purpose, seeking validation in likes, or feeling pressure to maintain an online image. To defeat this enemy, set digital boundaries. Dedicate specific times of the day to check social media, rather than doing it constantly. You can also use apps to monitor the time you spend on them and set limits when necessary. Additionally, be conscious of who you follow. Fill your feed with content that inspires, educates, or motivates, and eliminate what causes you stress or comparison. By reducing the digital noise, you will regain valuable time and, most importantly, mental clarity to focus on what really matters. Enemy 7. Resentment and grudges. Resentment is like carrying a heavy suitcase that you never unpack. Holding grudges may seem like a way to protect yourself from past pain, but in reality, it prolongs your suffering. This enemy manifests as repetitive thoughts about situations or people who hurt you, making it difficult to live fully in the present. Negative emotions associated with resentment, like anger or hatred, can become an emotional burden. This affects not only your mental peace, but also your physical health, increasing the risk of chronic stress and related problems like insomnia or high blood pressure. Additionally, resentment consumes your emotional energy, leaving you with less capacity to enjoy the positive aspects of your life. Practicing forgiveness is not just an act of release for the other person. It is, above all, a gift for yourself. You can start by writing a letter, which you don't necessarily have to send, expressing your feelings and letting go of that burden. Another effective technique is to visualize the act of letting go, imagining that you are releasing those emotions like balloons rising into the sky. Focus on what you can control, such as your reactions and personal growth, instead of clinging to the past. Enemy 8. Fear of change. Letting go of resentment allows you to make room for the new, but often the new comes with a challenge: facing the unknown. This brings us to the next enemy of mental peace, one that can be as paralyzing as it is invisible: the fear of change. Change is a constant in life, but it is also one of the greatest sources of anxiety. This enemy appears when we face significant transitions or even small adjustments that take us out of our comfort zone. Often, the fear of change is fueled by thoughts like, what if it doesn't work? Or, what if I fail? Limiting our personal and professional growth. The fear of change can trap us in situations that do not make us happy, such as toxic relationships or unsatisfying jobs, just out of fear of the unknown. It also contributes to analysis paralysis, where excessive doubts prevent decision-making. This state perpetuates a cycle of dissatisfaction, hindering the opportunity to live enriching experiences. The key to overcoming the fear of change lies in strengthening your resilience. Start by facing small changes and observing how you handle them successfully. It also helps to visualize the benefits of change, focusing on what you can gain rather than what you might lose. A practical technique is to break the change into manageable steps, allowing you to move forward without feeling overwhelmed. Finally, remember that each step into the unknown teaches you something new and prepares you for future challenges. Enemy 9, excessive control. Accepting change involves letting go of absolute control, but for many, this is a constant struggle. Wanting to have everything under control is not only exhausting, but also a silent enemy that sabotages mental peace. The need to control every aspect of your life may stem from a desire for security or perfection, but this mindset is a trap. In a world full of unexpected variables, trying to control the uncontrollable generates frustration and stress. This enemy appears in the form of micromanagement, obsession with details, or constant anxiety when things don't go as expected. Excessive control drains your emotional and mental energy. By wanting to foresee and manage every situation, you end up in a perpetual state of alertness, unable to relax. This habit can also affect your relationships, as others may perceive you as rigid or difficult to please. Worse still, failing to control everything can lead to a cycle of self-recrimination and distress. Stoicism offers an invaluable tool, the dichotomy of control. Learn to differentiate between what is in your hands and what is not. For example, you can control your efforts and decisions, but not the outcomes or the reactions of others. Practice reminding yourself daily of this distinction and focus on what you can truly change. Additionally, trust in natural processes and allow life to flow, leaving room for spontaneity. This will not only free you from stress, but also enrich your life experience. Enemy 10, lack of time for yourself. Letting go of excessive control helps us free up mental space, but that space must be filled with something meaningful. However, many people make a crucial mistake. They don't set aside time for themselves. This brings us to the last enemy we will address. In a society that values productivity and service to others, prioritizing oneself can seem selfish. This enemy appears when you let external demands, work, family, social commitments occupy all your time, leaving little or nothing for reconnecting with yourself. When you neglect your own moments of rest and reflection, you start to disconnect from your emotions and needs. This not only affects your mental well-being, but also your relationships and overall performance. Living on autopilot, always prioritizing others, can lead to emotional exhaustion and a loss of personal identity. Self-care is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Incorporate activities that allow you to reconnect with yourself, such as reading, meditating, or simply enjoying a moment of tranquility. A useful technique is to set dates with yourself, scheduling weekly time to do something you truly enjoy. You can also start with simple mindful breathing exercises, even if only for 5 minutes a day, to regain your inner balance. This habit will not only improve your mental peace, but also give you more energy to face life's demands. Recap throughout this journey. We have identified and analyzed the 10 main enemies of mental peace: recurring negative thoughts, constant comparisons, perfectionism, lack of boundaries, external and internal noise. excessive social media use, resentment and grudges, fear of change, excessive control, lack of time for oneself. Each of them has the potential to destabilize our minds, but we have also explored practical solutions to face them and regain balance. Mental peace is not a destination, but a daily habit. Every time you take a small step to face these enemies, you are building a more conscious and fulfilling life. Remember, you are not alone on this path. As Marcus Aurelius said, the soul is dyed with the color of its thoughts. What colors do you choose to paint your life with? Now it's your turn. Reflect on which of these enemies affects your mental peace the most right now. Write it in the comments and share how you plan to face it. Together we can build a mutual support space to achieve a more balanced and happy life.